friends, happy Wednesday. It's Laura Milligan here, coming to you live from Canton, Ohio. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is my weekly live. Um, Last week I had so much fun. We were celebrating my 25th anniversary as a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I loved reading all of your comments and sharing photos and memories and just reminiscing. It was really fun. So thank you all for participating in that. It was a really fun time, and I think all of you seem to enjoy it as well. Of course, the best part about the 25 years is the friendships that I've made and how being a demonstrator literally has changed my life. I feel so blessed and so grateful for all the friendships that I have made over the 25 years. So thank you all for being a part of that Stampin' Up! Journey with me. Today I'm going to be making 3 cards using the Elegant Pines Snowflakes Suite. It is an online exclusive. The products are gorgeous. I think the cards are gorgeous. I think you're gonna like them. I did want to mention that I have an event on Friday, December 5th. It is festive and fun. It is featuring the Gingerbread Man bundle. It is cuteness overload. These projects are so cute. I'm super excited for this. You can come in person if you live local to me. You could also get the class to go. I can't say enough about how cute it is. We're going to do some really, really fun things. And then if you're local to me, one of the options is adding on a lunch, which is always fun. So we just kind of continue the community and the gathering of friends as we create some super cute projects. And how many times did I say cute when I was describing it? It is true. It's so cute. The other thing I wanted to mention, so if you haven't registered yet, I'll be sending out another email today at some point this afternoon. Tomorrow is the last day to register to be an early bird. And you always want to be an early bird with me because they are rewarded with some kind of a surprise gift. And that is the case also for this class. So don't delay. If you think you want to come or participate to go, you will, if you register by tomorrow, you'll receive an early bird little surprise gift from me. So trust me, friends, you don't want to miss this class. This will be the last holiday Christmas class that I will be offering this year. I'll be doing other things in December, but this one is the last holiday event. So come and get in the Christmas spirit and have a fun day of crafting before all the craziness of Christmas sets in. The other thing I wanted to mention is starting next week on, let me look at my note, November 25th, which is Tuesday, through December 1st, we are offering a Black Friday sale. And we haven't done this for a while. I don't know that they've ever actually had a sale they call Black Friday sale, but it's going to be a week-long sale. I have no idea what products are going to be on sale. I'm hoping it's some really good things. They did let us know that there's going to be up to 40% off products, certain things. And like I said, I don't know what they are. I'll find out, I guess, when you all find out too on Tuesday morning. But don't miss out on that. We all love a good deal, and we always like to shop Black Friday, so don't miss out on that. So if you are there, say hello. I did a lot of talking there at the beginning, and I hope that you're all doing great, having a good day. Let me just make sure people are checking in here with me. There we go. Hi, Terry. How are you? Hi, Marcia. Hi, Barb. Hi, Myra. Yeah, Marcia signed up for the gingerbread class. It is so, so cute. And yes, Marcia, I will talk to you about what lunch you want. I get the lunches from a great place in downtown Canton called Deli, Ohio. Great local family-owned business, and they have the best lunches. So we will be getting our lunches from there. So if you don't want to come for the stamping, you're going to at least enjoy the lunch. No, I'm kidding. You will enjoy the stamping as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I have 3 cards I'm going to make today. I do have an ordering special. If you fall in love with these cards, and if you want to place a $50 product order in my store between today and Sunday, I will give you the kits to make the 3 cards that I'm going to make today, featuring this Elegant Pine Suite. Now, you will need the dies and the stamp set because I will not be doing the die cutting for you, and we are not allowed per Stampin' Up! Policy to include stamped images in our kits. but you will have all the parts and pieces that you need, and along with a PDF with the measurements so that you can duplicate and make these cards at home. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to change my camera view here. And hi Wendy, how are you doing? Okay, so I have 3 cards I'm going to make today. I'm going to start with this first one. Has some stamping. Well, let me show you. So this is the Delicate Pines bundle. Those of you that participated in my Christmas card Stamp-A-Stack last week, this was the featured bundle that we used. These are the dies. I haven't mounted them on a magnet sheet yet, but it has these dies and then these 3 snowflake dies, which I have set aside because I'm going to be using them on this first card here. But those are the dies. And then there's also the gorgeous paper. It's called Elegant Pine Snowflakes paper. And look how gorgeous. I'll show you one side and then I'll flip it over and show you the other. And what I like about this paper, and you'll see as I make these cards today, that some of the dies coordinate with the images on the DSP, and to me that's a win-win. I always love that. It makes stamping and creating super easy. So there's the 6 patterns. Gorgeous. I love the gorgeous colors. Has some Secret C in it, one of my favorite colors now. And then let's flip this over and look at the back side. It's so pretty. Look at all those different shades of blues and greens. Just gorgeous. Okay. So let me show you, while I have this out, it's probably easier for me to show you on this 6x6 paper. The paper is 12 by 12, but I always cut it down for my paper shares. So you can see this image, cuts that out. And I will say, when I thought this would fit, and I was like turning this, and I thought, oh, okay, maybe I was wrong. I don't think it fits. But then what I realized was there's a top and a bottom on these snowflakes. And if you find these little tips here that are right opposite each other, if you position those on the top and bottom center part of this little snowflake, then it lines up perfectly. I was having trouble getting it to line up. So then I realized that, and that really helped. So find just the single tip there and the one directly opposite it, and then that'll cut those images out for you. And there are quite a few of those. And then there's a bigger snowflake, and it's this one. Now this is not the whole sheet, but you get the idea. It cuts that one out. So pretty. And then, you know, I didn't even try these. There's some little snowflakes. I'm not sure. They may fit. There, it looks like there's a die. Let me see. There's a die that might even cut this out, which would be really great. Let's see. Yeah, it does. Sure does. So you can cut those out, and there's quite a few of those on this pattern as well. One of my favorite parts about these dies, which I'm not even using today, but this die cuts out a pine cone. It is the cutest pine cone. We used them on our Christmas cards for the Stamp-A-Stack, and they're just super, super cute. And then this pattern, it's the Secret C pattern. This one also has images that can be die cut directly from the cards, from the DSP. So like here's one. Let me see if I can get this lined up properly. I know this fits because I'm using it on one of my cards. Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. I was getting too close. So it's that. And then this piece, there's a little die, and you can cut that out. I'm using both of these on a card today. Hi, Susie Q. Hi, Debbie. I know, Debbie, I agree. The DSP is gorgeous. And Colleen, right? Don't you just love the pine cone? It's so cute. So, so cute. So there's that paper. And then the other paper that I'm using, and we actually used this for the Stamp-A-Stack as well, and nobody had seen it before, and everybody was asking what it was. And it's this pattern, And I don't know, I'm going to hold this up and see if you can see if the light will catch it, if the camera can catch it. That's a pretty good view. This is called Silent Snowfall. And this is, they call it soft gray, which I think is true. It's a real soft, it's not a pure white. But you buy this, it's 12 by 12 paper, and it's already embossed with this snowflake panel. And I just thought it was a perfect pairing with this particular suite. So that is called Silent Snowfall. And it's all the same pattern. Okay. So my card is just kind of simple. I'm going to do some stamping. Let's see. So I have just a panel of basic white. My card base is thick basic white, and I'm going to stamp this large snowflake, the next size snowflake. This one I'm going to use on the inside of the large one, and then this one I'm going to stamp and die cut. So I'm using all 4 of these snowflake stamps. So I'm going to start with the biggest snowflake, and I'm going to stamp it in Pretty Peacock ink. This one is a big stamp. It is extremely detailed, so you want to be certain that as you're stamping this, you get plenty of ink on it. And when I go to stamp this on my cardstock, I'm going to bring in a little mat, and this is a very firm push. And I'm going to hold this down and really push. A lot of people at the Stamp-A-Stack did this one standing up. It's not hard at all, but you want to just be sure that you give it a good push, and then you get this beautiful image. It's really detailed and pretty. And so then I think that's all I'm doing. Oh, and then I'm going to use the next size snowflake. I'm also stamping this in the Pretty Peacock ink. This is also a really detailed stamp. Aren't these gorgeous? I just think these are beautiful. And then I'm going to use the smaller, so there's 2 small snowflakes. So let me bring them both in here and let me show you on the case. So this one, there's 2 different ones, and they're basically the same size. I'm going to put this one on the inside of this large snowflake, and then this one I'm going to stamp and just die cut. Yeah, so Marcia's saying everyone at bingo last night was excited about the Silent Snowfall paper. No one, I think a lot of people, I think it's something that's being missed. It's an online exclusive, so don't miss it. It is gorgeous. Okay, so I'm going to start with this stamp. It is going to be stamped in Old Olive. I'm sorry, not Old Olive, Mossy Meadow. You could do Old Olive, but I'm going to do Mossy Meadow, and I'm just going to line this up inside my large snowflake, and it fits. They've designed it so that it fits perfectly. It's so easy to use and to line these up. Okay, and then I'm going to use Garden Green. And the Garden Green I'm just going to stamp on its own. Aren't those pretty? Okay, now I'm going to bring in my die cutting machine and do some die cutting. I could use my smaller die cutting machine, but I just brought my big one over here today. So let's see if I can turn this so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. So I'm just going to put my cardstock here and bring in my 3 dies. I'm going to close up my ink. I have already had an inky day. My hands are like, well, they look better than they did. I washed them and most of the ink came off, but okay, so I'm going to line these up. And this is nice because I can do all 3 at the same time. Now, I have to decide if I'm going to be brave and do this without using like a Post-it note or some washi tape or repositional tape, or if I'm gonna just go through and hope they don't slip. I think I am. Let's live on the wild side, friends. What do you think? Let's see how we do. If I'm really careful, I think I can do this. That'll just save a little bit of time. Okay. And I think they look pretty good. Hi, Sarah. How are you today? Okay. So here are our snowflakes. Look how pretty. So there are my 3 snowflakes. And I love that you can do, you know, whoops, multiples of these at the same time. Hold on, let me reach under here and get my die. When we had bingo last night, there was something that I had stamped. I can't even think now what it was. But I couldn't find it. And so I just explained, I had a sample. So I showed them the sample, the people that were stamping. We had a great group last night. And sure enough, I found it this morning under my chair here. So it was there all along. Okay. The other thing I die cut, and I've already done this. This is just the Pretty Peacock cardstock, and I used the smallest die from the Stylish Shapes, the smallest banner die. I actually probably could have done that when I ran the snowflakes through. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and put this card together now. I am using a basic white base, thick white. Debbie, you're a pro, you can do it. Well, not always. Sometimes paper just slips, but I'm happy that it worked today. Nothing like having it slip, you know, when you're going live. I'm just going to add then this soft snowflake, silent snowfall DSP. So I'm just going to center this. And I love the contrast between the pure white of the basic white cardstock and then this light gray, soft gray is how they describe it. It's such a pretty, just a slight hint of gray to it, and I really like that. Okay. So I'm going to just go ahead and start assembling. I'm going to take this little snowflake first and just glue it on flat. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to do the next size. It's going to be over here. I'm going to put this on just to make sure this one can overlap a little bit. I'm going to put that like that. This one's going to be popped up, but I want to make sure I've got it in the right spot. That'll be good. And then this one I'm just going to have here, and this one is also just glued down flat. And you know, one of the things that I like about this card too is that actually all the cards that I'm making today, they don't necessarily need to be red and green. You know, I think oftentimes we think about Christmas cards and we think they all have to be red and green, but they don't. Sometimes it's nice to kind of switch it up. So what I'm going to do is cut this in half. So we have those 2 pieces. I'm going to go ahead and pop this big snowflake up with my dimensionals. I'm going to put quite a few. The other thing that goes with this suite that I'm not even using today, but we did use at this Christmas card Stampin' Stack, was this gorgeous ribbon. I'm going to reach, excuse my reach here. um, this gorgeous shaded spruce ribbon. It's about, gosh, it's an inch wide and it's trimmed in gold. And I think it's just absolutely beautiful. So we did use that. Everybody got a full bolt of that to use on their cards. Okay, so let's put this in place. Now let's see, I'm just going to turn it to make it fit. And like I said, it's going to overlap that little snowflake a little bit. I think I'm going to put it right there, just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to use a little strip. I forgot to cut a strip for my words, but I think I'll just use this. I may trim it up a bit. Let's see if this is a better... Okay. I'm just going to cut about a 3/4. Let me see how wide this is. That's 3/4. I'm going to go just a titch below 3/4. Just a titch. Okay. And I am going to use Warmest Winter Wishes. And I'm going to be stamping this in Pretty Peacock. Pretty Peacock is one of my favorite colors. Okay, so I'm going to stamp that, Warmest Winter Wishes, and I'm just going to trim this. Like that. And I'm going to tuck both of these pieces on either end. I got so much ink on my fingers this morning. I'm trying to be really careful right now because I was not being very careful this morning. Okay, and I'm just going to have a little bit of this sticking out. So it's just like a little banner on either side of the words. And just make that so that it's the same. And you know what? I just realized this one's on backwards or upside down. I'm going to flip it over. I want the pretty stitching to be at the front. And I'll just adjust it, and that looks pretty close. Pull this out a bit. There, that looks pretty good. Okay, and then I'll put some dimensionals on the back of that. I'm going to put some right where this edge is of the Pretty Peacock banner, and that'll help secure those, especially since I've been kind of moving them around to get them straight. Okay, and then I'm just going to put this across this snowflake here, like that. And then one of my favorite parts, this one is just kind of a clean, simple look, but oh so pretty. One of my favorite parts about this suite are the gorgeous gems. Look at these, they're called faceted snowflakes. And I think these are just beautiful. Love these. They just, to me, look festive and sparkly and fun. So I'm gonna just use some of the Pretty Peacock gems for this card. I'm going to start with the large, and so there's two sizes of gems, small and large. And then we'll just put that one right there. And there's, I always do a triangle, as you know. And so that is our first card. Look how pretty and sparkly. Can you see how sparkly those gems are? I just think this is such a beautiful Christmas card. And so then on the inside, I just took a little strip of the Silent Snowfall, and I'm just going to put that on the bottom here. You could also use a piece of this to put on your envelope flap. That would be really pretty. And it kind of carries that paper from the front to the inside of the card. And isn't that pretty? And so then I'm going to use So I could do celebrate the season. It's the most magical time of the year. I'm going to just stamp Merry Christmas. And I'm taking these words from Jolly Holly. Excuse me. So let's do, here's our Merry and Christmas. And let me clean this off real quick. I don't always remember to get my chamois wet, but so that I can clean this as I go, but I remembered today, so that's good. Okay. So I'm going to do these separate. You could probably, well, I'll show you something I did last night that the ladies seemed to really like. So I positioned this, move this up so I can hear it. So I positioned this kind of where I wanted it to be. I have the flat side of the stamp facing up, so the part that's actually going to stamp is down. And then, so I'm going to put that there. I'm going to do the same thing with this, with the Christmas. I'm just going to position that to where I want it. And then what you can do is just take your block and push it against those stamps and pull them up, and it's lined up exactly how you want it. And you only have to stamp once instead of stamping the words separate. Merry and Christmas. This way you only have to stamp it one time. Just like that. And then probably what I would do is take a gem just to fancy up the inside as well. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. So that is card number 1. Here's the front again. So, so pretty. Okay, that's card number 1. Let me clean up a bit here. Okay. Card number 2. So the next 2 cards that I want to make today actually show how you can let the designer paper do the work. When we have dies that coordinate with the designer series paper, I love that we're able to, directly die cut using the dies and have these gorgeous images that are beautifully colored. So here are 3 different snowflake images cut directly from the designer paper that I'm going to be using on this card. And then I have my thick white card base. I have a panel of cherry cobbler and pretty peacock. These are both cut 3 3/8 by 4 5/8. And you know what? I can put this up here so that you can see that. And then the basic white is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. So those are all the measurements that you need. I'm going to set this aside because I'm going to bring in my die cutting machine again and go ahead and die cut these. Okay, and I probably can do these all at the same time. I think they'll all fit. Thank you, Terry. Okay, so I'm going to line this up. That looks pretty good there. And then I have the small one, which is here. My fingers are sticky, so the dots are sticking to my fingers. Okay, and then this one. And this is the one, if you find this little point, like I was talking, oh, and you know what, I get to see you're off camera. This little point, not the ones that have the 3s, but the little ones. Let's see if I can figure this out here. I guess it depends on which way it's pointing. There we go. So there's just that single tip right there, and that seems to line up just perfectly. Okay, I'm going to go for it again. Let's see. Let's live on the wild side. Let's see if I can do this without letting this slip. Okay, here we go, everybody. Now, when you're stamping, when you're die cutting like this, do you often use like something like a Post-it note or washi tape to hold your dies down, or do you just go for it like I'm doing today? I usually, well, it depends. I guess I usually don't tape it down. I just go for it. I guess I can, if I mess it up, I can always do it again. Okay, so we have these 3 gorgeous snowflakes cut directly from the gorgeous designer paper. Oh, you always tape them down, Terry? Yeah, I probably should. Better safe than sorry, I guess. Okay, so now we're just going to put this one together. So I'm going to start with this white piece, and I'm going to go ahead and do my stamping. And I'm just going to use Celebrate the Season. If I can find it, where is it? Oh, perhaps I put it away. I did. I put it in the stamp case. I can't find it when I put it away, right? Okay, let me clean this off. I'll just switch these words out. So does anybody have Christmas cards done already? I know last night at bingo, Debbie said that hers are all done and addressed and stamped and everything. And we were all kind of shocked and jealous. We're jealous. That would be awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp Celebrate the Season at the bottom of this panel. Got pretty peacock ink. I gotta make sure I don't have ink on my hands. Okay, so we have our thick, basic white card base. And I am going to put the pretty peacock panel down first, and I'm going to angle it. So I'm going to put just some dabs of blue. This card is very stunning, and it actually goes together pretty quickly, especially once you get like the die cutting done. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this, angle it a bit, like this. I'm going to take the cherry cobbler and angle it like that. And then I'm going to take my white panel, and this I am going to pop up with some dimensionals. So I'll just put these in the corner. Each of the corners. And that's just going to go straight on there like that. Okay, now I'm going to start adding these snowflakes. Look how pretty even that by itself looks. Isn't that gorgeous? The background, it looks black, but it's actually that secret sea color. So if you would like these card kits, like I said, it's just a $50 order. I will be certain that you have plenty of designer paper. I'll probably send a little bit extra so that you have enough to maybe do a few of the flaps of your envelope, that sort of thing. I'll give you a little bit of extra of the DSP. I'm going to pop up the next snowflake. I'm already at the end of this sheet of dimensionals. No surprise, right? I've been using a ton of them lately. Aw. It does look like a star, you're right. Okay, so then I'm going to put this on, and it's just going to fit It's basically just a smaller version of this. You can see the different points, see how they all line up. So pretty. And then the final one is just going to be this one, and I'm going to pop this up with a dimensional as well. I only put one in the middle. I didn't put any around the outside at like the tips of it. I didn't think it needed it. And I don't even know, I think even like a mini dimensional would probably have to be cut in half to fit on those little tips, but I think it's not that big of an image. I think it's fine the way it is. So we have that. Now I'm going to really gussy this one up because it's kind of simple, but I tell you what I think makes it extremely stunning is adding these gorgeous gems. So I'm using the cherry cobbler ones for this. Now you could just put one in the middle and be done. Like, I think that's really pretty. Look at how those sparkle. I think those are gorgeous. These are called faceted snowflakes. But what I decided to do was to really gussy it up because it's Christmas and why not? And I'm just going to put one of these between each of these little I don't know what you call them, petals, sprigs, each one of these here. So this is going to be really sparkly Christmas card. So there you have it. Look how gorgeous. Isn't that beautiful? I think that's so pretty. Okay, so for the inside, you could do a strip of DSP, a lot of options. You could, of course, stamp a greeting. This is a really pretty, it's the most magical time of year. With Celebrate the Season, I would probably just stamp like Merry Christmas, something like that. But that is card number 2. And I didn't mention that if you place a $75 order between today and Sunday, not only will you get the card kits, you will also get, I will include a package of these gems as well. So that is our card number 2. And then I have one more. This could be my favorite. I don't know. I love all of them, actually. Okay, so I have parts and pieces here. There's a lot to this set of dies, this bundle, the dies. There's a lot to it. I'm barely even touching on what you can do with that. Okay, so I have one of these snowflakes again, and I have a panel of cherry cobbler, which is 4 by 5 1/4, and I have some strips. I will put this on here, but this is kind of small. These were just notes for myself as I was prepping this. I wrote them down so that I could talk about them when I'm doing this, but this piece is 1 1/4 by 3 3/4, and then 2 1/2 by 3/4. That will be for my sentiment. I always cut an extra one of those when I go live in case I make a boo-boo, because you all know that I make boo-boos. And then I have a piece of DSP that is 3 3/4 by 5. This is a different pattern. I haven't used this one yet today with that pretty peacock background. It's really pretty. And then I have this piece because I just had a piece left over. It's 2 1/4 by 5 3/4. I'm going to put that on the envelope flap. So I'll set that aside a minute. And then I have 2 little pieces of cherry cobbler. They're both 3 3/4 inches long. One is 3/8 inch and one is 1/2 inch. So I'm going to layer those up on the card. And then I have just a scrap of cherry cobbler. And I'm going to first just take my 2 3/8 inch circle punch and punch a circle. Okay. And really this card, so I'm using this, but you actually could if you want to make multiples of these, although I will say there are a lot of these images on the designer paper that you can cut out, but this is the same size, and you could do this you could use the stamp image to create your cards as well. So I'm going to quickly die cut this. I didn't do that yet, so I'm going to go ahead and die cut that. So I bring in my machine one more time. I'm weightlifting today. Okay. Do you like the second one, Susie? I do too. I like all the sparkle. Well, I should know that would be your favorite because I know you like sparkly things as well, like I do. All right, so I'm going to line this up. Let's see, I'm at a weird angle. Let me turn this so I can see what I'm doing here. I have to find, okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, I'm going to run this through real quickly. Did I mention how cute my gingerbread class is going to be next week? I think I did. Don't miss it, my friends. It's going to be a good one. Okay, we have all the parts and pieces we need, and I am going to stamp Warmest Winter Wishes again. Let me get my chamois and clean this off. And I'm going to stamp this in Cherry Cobbler ink, just on my little word panel. And that's this piece right here. This is 1/2. That doesn't sound, it's 3/4 by 2.5, sorry. 3/4 by 2.5. Okay, so we have that. And then again, I would stamp a greeting on the inside. Merry Christmas. I've got so many great Christmas greeting sets. Okay, I'm gonna crease my white cardstock, and then I'm just gonna start adding layers. So I'm going to start with the Cherry Cobbler panel. Oh, I forgot. I need, you know what? I didn't die cut everything I need. I'm going to have to get my die cutting machine out again. I thought I was done. Let me bring that up again real quick. So I used these little dies. And there are 3 of them in the set, which is awesome. I love when Stampin' Up! Does that. Let me bring this back up here. And I'm just going to cut all of these. Let's see if I have a scrap paper here I could use. Yep, here's one. I'm just going to lay these on here really quickly. Okay, now I think I'm done with die cutting. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. And I'm just going to use the tip of my scissors to pop these out, just to get them started, and then I can pull them. I don't want to forget this part because this adds a really cool look to this card. Okay, so we have those, but it's so nice to have multiples of this. You only have to crank them through once, right? And now we have 6 of these sprigs. And so what I'm going to do with these is just cut this in half. Kind of looks like, does it remind you of fish scale or fish bones? Like someone has cleaned a fish or eaten a fish and this is what's left. I don't know why it kind of reminds me of that. That's not what it is. It's pine boughs, but gosh. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is add these to the back of my snowflake, and I'm going to be putting them on the shorter single piece as opposed to the edges or the section that has like the 3 little tips. So I'm going to put those on here. So I'm going to go ahead and just dab some glue on each one of these. This is how I got glue all over my fingers this morning when I was making this, along with lots of ink. Okay, and I'm just going to position these. Yeah, I just got into the ink. So I'm just going to do these so that they're sticking out about the same distance all the way around, same amount. And I'm going to be putting some dimensionals on these to pop this whole snowflake up. So you could probably also do this with like your Stampin' seal. I probably should have done that. It wouldn't have been so sticky, but this works. So far, this is the look I'm going for. Look how pretty that is. And these just add a nice little touch, I think. And then I have one more to put here. Could have used glue dots as well, but okay, so we got those. So look how pretty, isn't that pretty? Look how pretty. I think that's gorgeous. And I love this added touch around that snowflake. I'm gonna let that sit for a minute. I'm gonna get my chamois and kind of wipe my hands, get some of that glue off my fingers. Okay, let's finish this card. So we already have our panel of cherry cobbler, and now I'm going to attach the DSP. Yeah, as Marcia said just now, looking at her Delicate Pines dies, and there is so much in that die set. I'm barely touching on it. It's a great, great, great bundle. So now I'm going to take my little panel of white, and I'm going to position that about right there like that. Okay. Then I have these 2 little strips, and I'm going to put these next. And these are just going to go on that white panel. So I'm going to put one there. I love the colors. So this is a more traditional red and green card. It's cherry cobbler, but I think it's really pretty. And then I'm just going to leave a little space. Make sure that's nice and straight. Okay, so we have that. And then, and then I'm going to add my circle. And so for my circle, I'm just going to put some adhesive down the center, and that's going to stick right on this panel with the cherry cobbler strips and the white. Just put that there. And then I'm going to take some dimensionals and pop up. This is the focal point. I'm going to pop that up. Let's see, I lost my dimensionals. There they are. See if I can eke out a couple more, and then I'll just start using the edges. I wish that when I first became a demonstrator, I would have kept track of like how many glue dots and dimensionals and things like that I've used over the years. That would be a really fun thing. A little fun fact, wouldn't it? Terry's, I know, that's what I think too. They look like fish bones. They do. It's funny. I shouldn't have said that because now that's what we'll all think. Okay, so we have these. And I'm going to just go ahead and position that there. That's our focal point. I think it's so pretty. And then I am just going to angle this, both edges of this. And that's going to rest across here. I am going to put a dimensional, or a piece of one anyway, on the one end. I need to snip that a little bit. I don't want it hanging over the edge. Actually, I'll just tear it. Okay. And then on this side, I'll add a little bit of glue. And that'll just rest. I'm going to put that down a little bit because I'm going to put a gem right in the center of that snowflake. So there's the card. And then for this one, I'm going to use the Pretty Peacock star. I only put one on this one. I had to refrain because, you know, I love these gems. And whoops. There we go. I just want to put them all over the place. I mean, you could certainly sprinkle a few here, down here. That would be really pretty. But this one, I just put one right there on the center. So there's another really beautiful, beautiful card. And then I did have this little piece that I saved. This, let me find my envelope. That's not an envelope. Hold on one sec. Here we go. So I'm just going to glue this. Whoops. Glue this on the flap. And I've shown you this way before. I kind of like, this is kind of my new favorite way to do an envelope flap. I don't always trim around the curve of the flap. I just leave it like this. And I really like that look. I like how it looks on the back. And you just want to be sure that you use plenty of glue so that it's, you know, adhered to the flap. And then you just seal it like you normally would, and it's plenty to hold it closed. And you could do that for every card that you make. It's a great way to dress up the envelope. So there is card number 3. Here is card number 2. And here is card number 1. I'll put them like this. Maybe you can see those better. Like that. There's our envelope. And so if you are interested in getting these card kits in the mail or local pickup, just place a $50 order between now and Sunday, and I will send you the kits to make these. And like I said, you will need the dies to cut the snowflakes, do any of the die cutting, but I will give you everything else. You'll get the DSP, some of this soft Silent Snowfall. I keep wanting to call it soft snowflakes. Silent Snowfall, DSP as well. And if your order is $75 or more, I will include a pack of these gorgeous, gorgeous gems. So let me know what you think. Do you like these cards? Gosh, I just think they are all stunning. And I think it's a combination of the beautiful designer paper and the sparkling gems. And I just think the colors are so pretty as well. So I hope you like them. That is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I will be back next week probably. Oh, I won't. You know what? Next week is Thanksgiving. So we have our Black Friday sale starting on Tuesday. I may or may not be going live. I may schedule some posts ahead of time, but we're going to have a house full of family, and I'm so looking forward to everybody being here, being home, and being together. And so I hope that you are with family as well, and you all have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving week. I know that my heart is full. I have so very, very much to be thankful for in my life, and some of that is all of you watching. So thank you for your friendship, your support of my business, and I'm just so grateful for all of you. So thank you for joining me today, and until next time, please take care, and I hope you have time to be creative today. Bye-bye, my friends.